Hi, this is Daniel Hutchins, and today we're going to be talking about an article from our friend Den of Geek. So today from Den of Geek, we're talking about Star Wars. Yep, so how Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic can become canon again. Well, the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake finally allowed the classic story to return from canon. This was from today. Alright. After years of rumors, reports, and leaks, Lucasfilms Games finally has the new Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic games in their pipeline. Mind you, it isn't the prequel most players hope for, but it's a remake of the original, spearheaded by Asper, the veteran studio that spent the last few years porting Star Wars classics to modern consoles, including next-gen and mobile versions of Knights of the Old Republic and its beloved sequel. But the remake of one of the best Star Wars games ever made a different challenge altogether. Alright, so much will be said about what should and shouldn't be tweaked about BioWare's seminal RPG and modern retelling. Now, in fact, we have some thoughts ourselves, but the remake raises other questions. For example, will they remake finally the beloved era of Star Wars, an official part of the Disney canon? You likely know the history by now, but as a refresher, in case you don't know, when Disney bought the rights to Star Wars in 2012, it proceeded to carve out the new future for the galaxy far, far away. One that didn't necessarily have the adhere to continuity already established from the movies, books, comics, video games, and TV series. Before this buyout, in 2014, Disney rebooted Star Wars canon to make the sequel trilogy. This meant that all Star Wars Expanded Universe stories written before 2014 were relegated to non-canon continuity known as Legends. Okay, this controversial decision, to say the least, was a section of the fandom didn't take very kindly to. But that's not the whole story. The point is that the reboot meant that the Knights of the Old Republic was no longer known as canon. In the very early days of Disney canon, the Phantom Menace, set in 32 BBY before the Battle of Yavin, was the earliest part of the Star Wars timeline. But since then, changed in the books and comics thanks to the High Republic series, which explores the Jedi Order 200 years before the prequel trilogy. Alright. So 200 years in the past might seem like a big jump from Disney canon, but that's nothing compared to Knights of the Old Republic series, which has moved the action back almost 4,000 years in the time of Jedi Civil Wars and Sith Empire. We're also noted to the movie saga that birthed from it. In fact, much of the success of the video game series can be attributed to how it deftly distilled the classic Star Wars experience, but in unfamiliar territory with a whole new cast of characters. Now, the fact that the games were set long before the Skywalker saga has still drives so much of franchise storytelling today. Now, given BioWare and LucasArts storytellers a lot of freedom to create a whole new corner of the canon without stepping in the movie's toes. Now, some fans have long argued that same long ago setting that could allow Knights of the Old Republic to fit snugly back in Disney canon for now. It's true, 232 BBY is the earliest point in Star Wars canon timeline from this moment, which means that in theory there wouldn't be much of a conflict where the stories in Knights of the Old Republic had folded back into canon, and Disney is clearly interested in the fan-favorite era of Star Wars anyways. In 2019, it was reported that Lucasfilms was developing a Knights of the Republic movie, with some screenwriters from Shutter Island and Alita Battle Angel penning the script. Now, a report had followed Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy's own acknowledgement that the studio was thinking about how to do Knights of the Old Republic. Yeah, but we are developing something to look at. Right now we have no idea where things might fall, but we have to be careful, and there is a cadence to Star Wars that doesn't start to feel like too much. Now, of course, that was 2 years ago, and Knights of the Old Republic wasn't one of the Star Wars projects announced in Disney Investor Day last year, where Kennedy revealed the entire slate of movies and TV series in the next few years. Now, perhaps she's only been coyly alluding to High Republic as a Disney canon replacement for Knights of the Old Republic all along, but that line of comics books has launched in January of 2021. Now, despite the Knights of the Old Republic non-canon series in the whole, Disney has been sneakily reintroducing elements from the series in the canon Star Wars stories this whole time. Now, among them are some nods to protagonist Revan and the Rise of Skywalker, this return of Hammerhead cruisers and rebels, and mentions of wars between Mandalorians and Jedi from the Clone Wars and the Mandalorian. But those are likely won't be the last. What's the better way to bring Knights of the Old Republic back to canon than by putting a whole new version of the game on the shelf? A remake gives Hasbro and Lucasfilm Games the perfect platform from which to tell the story, for all to make sense within the new timeline. Whether it's the bits of the lore, or the allude to Exegol, or mentions the Drengel, the High Republic, but again, Knights of the Old Republic is set so far before anything in the timeline, you could just put it way back on wholesale with minor conflicts, all of which can be retconned anyways. So why hasn't Disney already did this? Well, that's a good question. Well, one issue could be the franchise's current commitment to building the High Republic, the prequel to the prequels meant between the prequels, meant to evoke some of the same things the Knights of the Old Republic did in 2003. Now, much of the same approach classic Star Wars feels, just alien though. And a whole new cast of characters and versions of Galaxy Far, Far Away feels very different to the one featured from movies. Now, with the live-action Disney Plus series set from the High Republic era, it's well known that as well as for the books and comics are still in the way. Now, Lucasfilm might not want to make the timeline more confusing by adding this prequel to the prequel of the prequels. While the Legends continuity did have its chronological timeline with a clear date for each story, things could get a bit unruly when you look at millennia worth of Star history it contains so far. Now, Disney's Lucasfilm Story Group kept a pretty lore tidy in the attempt to make a timeline feel like one grand story, then much easier to rein in 300 years, then 5,000 years worth of fictional galactic events. The High Republic does also present one big storytelling problem from the Knights of the Old Republic. The new books established that many parts of the galaxy as the Outer Rim are yet to be settled by the Republic. The galactic hyperspace lanes are yet to be explored and charted. Meanwhile, Knights of the Old Republic features a republic that has spread to most territories, even as it loses its grip to the Sith Empire. But this isn't necessarily a deal-breaker for Knights of the Old Republic, and could be simply explained away from the passage of time. 4,000 years separate these two eras, the gap within which knowledge and history could have been forgotten from one generation to the next. Just as most of the characters of Knights of the Old Republic knew nothing about the advanced technology of the Radican Empire, has built 30,000 years before the events of the game. The thousands of years of war undoubtedly continued to reshape the Republic, which explain why the High Republic embraces the pioneer spirit of the Jedi explorers in the Outer Rim. Now, Grand Admiral Thrawn remains to be the best example of how to recanonize popular Star Wars lore. Disney had reintroduced Thrawn to Rebels, which is set several years before the original trilogy. Basically, you plug him into the era on a timeline where his story has never been explored before, and using these new stories slowly seed a new version of the classic one. Now, as I write this, Thrawn's already been mentioned in Mandalorian. There seems poised to become the big bad of the Ahsoka live-action series, potentially setting up for a Disney Plus reimagining of the heir to the Empire. Now, if Disney can pull this off with Thrawn, Knights of the Old Republic should be a walk in the park. After all, heir to the Empire would have reshaped to make sense with all the new live-action series. But Knights of the Old Republic has been very own era to play in, with Lucasfilms rumored to interested to making a movie about the origins of the Jedi, just like the Game of Thrones creators, and now allegedly with Taika Waititi. This could be the right time to push the timeline back farther in preparation for an even bigger time jump, Legends Dawn of Jedi story. That takes place about 25,000 years before the original trilogy and Disney could follow suit. It's kind of fucking crazy. But whether Knights of the Old Republic becomes canon again or not isn't to the most important thing of the Asper's remake. Though story canon status doesn't automatically make it a good story or a bad one, it doesn't make one story more worth your time than the others. Now, a good Star Wars story is a good Star Wars story, which is why you should not dismiss the legends continually together, because there are some real gems there. And for many fans growing up in the early 2000s, Knights of the Old Republic still shines bright of all. But Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake is coming to the PlayStation 5 and the PC. No release date has been set quite yet, but while you wait, you can check out the complete schedule of upcoming Star Wars movies and TV series here. Now, of course, when they mean here, they mean Den of Geek. So, yeah, there you go, guys. That was just a little bit of some clearing up about Star Wars. If you guys like this content, please slap that thumbs up button if you like. Please leave a comment below on your thoughts about the Knights of the Old Republic and High Republic era, and have a nice day. Bye.